Right, this time at the Quick Speed Shop, I'm out putting suspension in my black Dodge truck here in the driveway. I ran into a huge suspension fiasco. What am I going to do to fix it? I don't know. I got an idea, and it involves a little custom fabrication. So let's jump into this 80 Dodge, should have been easy but not, restoration project. Guys, it's Josh here from the Quick Speed Shop Outside Edition. We're back on the black 80 Dodge here. And last time I fixed the frame and I've gone off camera. I've done the rest of the work on it. So if you missed the previous videos, I put all new metal in here. I made new frame rails in the back. I had to actually patch it on the outside of the frame here. I boxed that in the inside. I boxed it on the inside here in the front. And then I added a piece of strap between this boxing plate and that boxing plate to act as just to tie them together a little bit because the frame is still thin. I put a new cross member in here between the spring hangers, and it's all good to go now. The frame is repaired, and now we are ready to put the suspension back on. That's the day-to-day suspension. Got the rear end down here. We still got some repairs to do. This axle pad is pretty nasty. Oh, there's my hammer. I left it out here. Whoops. Anyways, we are ready to put the suspension on. I went to the junkyard, I don't know, 6 months ago, and I bought a set of springs. And they were in like an 89 or so, I think 1-ton truck, 4x4 that was on the at the pick and pull. So I got those. I took a whole bunch of leaves out of them. I got them down to like 7 leaves. Originally, the springs in this truck, since it's a 1/2 ton, were only like 5. And you can see here's my scrap pile of what I cut out of this thing. You can see, yeah, 4 leaves and then a helper. But everything was nasty. Look at that pile of rusty junk we cut out of this truck. So we're good to go there. And I put new ATS spring hangers on here. So I think we are ready to hang the leaf springs and start bolting the suspension back together. The spring hangers came with new bolts because these are 1-ton springs. They're 3/4 front bolts. So I got 3/4 spring hangers, and they got a nut lock nut. So I'm going to use these guys because might as well. When I put the hanger on the frame, I drilled a hole in the frame so the bolt can slip through the hanger. Oh, hold on. There we go. And actually, it's not going to hit the frame, but there's room for activities if we have to. Originally, the bolts kind of came through from the inside, and they put the nut on the outside. I'm going to do it this way just because it's easier. And I boxed the frame, so there's no way to put the bolt through without having a bunch of holes. So I'm going to put some anti-seize on the bolts like this. A little anti-seize is not a bad idea on everything. Oh, I just dropped it and dumped it all over the jack. Great. Right on the jack handle. Unbelievable. Anyways, because I think I need to pick the spring up. These are heavy. I'm just going to set the back of it in the hanger for now. Come up here. And I pre-fit these. There's a little bit of wiggle room. The hanger is pretty wide. I think it's meant to mush in some. But I want to shim it with a washer just because it's quite a distance. It's almost a 1/4 inch, and I don't see any reason to wad the hangover that much. So I'm gonna add a washer just because I can. Okay. Can't see the bolt at all. Oh, it's going. Okay. So now the tricky part is, because I'm doing it backwards, and I forgot to put my washer on the outside of the bolt. Son of a bee sting. Actually, you don't really need to, but I want to. Oh. Oops. Whoops. Double whoops. Here. Let's put our washer on here. Pick it back up. Do it again. Okay. I can put my spacer washer back in. Okay. Ow. So now the tricky part for me is I gotta land the other washer and then get the nut started. This is the, is there gonna be enough room with all these washers to get the nut to hold? Barely. Actually, it'll squeeze together a little bit. So now the hard part is, you guys really can't see down here in the hole, but trust me, it's happening right now. This is why they put them through from the inside, but like I said, I boxed the frame, so that precluded that. Let's jam this through just a little bit more. All right, now I should be able to kind of get my fingers in here, maybe get it started. Yes, okay. Yes, okay. Perfect. All right. Good thing I got gloves on. Anti-seize is everywhere already. The rear hanger, same thing. I want to space it with a washer because if I pick it up, there's a little bit of clearance here, and oh, you know what? It almost hits the spring hanger if I don't use a washer. That's kind of weird. Which way can I put the bolt through? I'm gonna put the bolt through from the, I guess it doesn't matter because I gotta not put the nut on it. And these are 5/8 bolts, which came with the springs. They went from the junkyard, and these don't have a washer because they're not long enough to have a washer. So we're gonna do what we can do. These are 5/8 bolts, and I don't know if I got ones long enough to put a bunch of washers on them, and I don't have any 5/8 washers, so that is the precludes all that. Anyways, I've got one 5/8 washer for a spacer. Drop that guy down in there. Pick this up. Yeah. Got him. Oop. Now the hard part is to get the washer up to the hole. Can't see nothing. Yep. Maybe. Man, they got this hammer right here. Let's take advantage of the hammer instead of my hand. Nice. This is the hard part, holding everything. Okay, what is going on here? Oh, it's gotta go down a little bit. Why won't you go through? Huh, that's weird. Boom. There we go. Don't worry about the threads. It's fine. Just beat it on there. Now this guy doesn't have a lock nut. It's got a lock washer. But like I said, these came from the junkyard, and it's what was there. Boom. Knock that guy through. Can I get it started? There's like half a thread. I'm going to have to forego the lock washer at this time. These squeeze in a little bit when you tighten them down. I'm going to have to go through and squeeze it just a touch, then get the lock nut on there. I probably could get like a 5/8 locking nut at the hardware store. But for what this truck is, it's good. All right, so that little spacer kept away from the hanger here. We got this guy bolted in. We definitely have a problem here, and I'll tell you why right now. See where the bolt is in the spring compared to the axle center line? Uh-oh. I know for a fact this rear end hasn't moved. It went straight down on the jack stands. And almost about 1.5 to 1.75 inch problem. What is going on here? These went right in the hangers, so they're fine, and what? From the center of the eye, roughly, it's 25 3/4. What's the stock spring, or the half-ton spring? Oh no, 23 3/4. What'd I say? 25 3/4. It's 2 inches longer. What the hell? I mean, the overall spring length is the same because it fits in the hangers that I put on here. there shouldn't be any difference between half-ton, three-quarter-ton, and one-ton Dodge springs, because you know how I know why? The rough country kit that I put in this Dodge, they sell for all the same, the half-ton up to the one-ton trucks. And this is a three-quarter-ton. Now I'm curious, what is the dimension to the axle from the center of the bolt? Because these are new rough country springs. I mean, it's got a lift kit on it, so it's hard to tell because of the lift, a 4-inch lift. But if I approximate without the lift, yeah, 23 3/4 roughly for a stock height spring. What the hell is going on here? You can definitely see it. See the hole in the center of the axle compared to that bolt? That bolt goes where the axle goes. Center is the axle. Now, I went to the junkyard. I got springs that look identical to Dodge springs that had identical mounts, were in a Dodge, and I brought them here to put them on another Dodge, where I just proved that this half-ton spring and a three-quarter-ton spring were the same bolt to center pin here. Did the guy that took this truck to the junkyard use springs out of another truck, like a Ford or something, that were the same the overall length, but the wheelbase is different? I don't know, but this is a huge fiasco, because I can't just move the axle back 2 inches, so it won't be in the wheel well of the box. And if I'd known this ahead of time, since I added these new hangers, I would have just moved the hangers ahead 2 inches, which would have put the springs where the rear end is, but obviously I didn't, because why would I do that if all the Dodge springs are the same, except for this random pair that I bought at the junkyard? Now what are we gonna do? I've welded, these studs are welded to the inside of the frame, so I can't even unbolt it and re-drill new holes and move it ahead easily. I've welded all the bolts, now the frame is boxed. I can't get to the bolts to put new bolts in it because the frame's boxed. I mean, I could easily, if the frame wasn't boxed, I could easily move everything ahead 2 inches and solve this. It's lunchtime. Let me have lunch and think about this. You can't win for losing. I just was filming a video inside the garage on the C10 truck, working on that, where I tried to bleed the brakes. It ended up taking me like 3 hours to bleed the brakes. I'm like, let me do something simple and fun, bleed the brakes. Nope, that was a complete disaster. Now I come out here, I'm like, okay, now the weather's good for today. Let's go ahead and put the springs on the Dodge and bolt the suspension back together. I got new U-bolts. We're ready to rock and roll with that. Nope. A complete debacle. I don't believe it. Okay, it's many hours later here. I've been out fabbing. I did it fast because I was going to lose the daylight. I had to go to the store to get some bolts, but I got the bolts bolted on the suspension. I had to get longer 5/8 bolts for the back because they were just too short from whoever had them at the junkyard. But I've got both springs bolted in now, and now I'm fixing the rear end to accept the springs. Both the tops of the pads of this thing were severely rusty, so I just made some flat stock to make a new top plate. I got this one welded on. It's my starter one because it was in better shape, and I'm about to fix the other side. But I had lunch, I had to buy hardware, and I thought about it, and I came up with a solution here. Let's check this out. Over here are the factory lift blocks that came with this setup. These are actually these really rusty ones that are full of nastiness, or the ones that are on the truck. These are the ones that came with the springs from the junkyard. They're the same block. They're like, I don't know, 3.5 inch or something like that. They pin down into the axle, and then the leaf spring sits on top of there. They're tapered, and these are the bottom spring mounts. I've actually got the ones from the junkyard that were in better shape. I put some rust encapsulator on them, so we're going to use those. But these lift blocks, obviously with the springs being in the wrong location, aren't going to help me. So I came up with a solution, a custom lift block. So this is 3/16, I think, 2.5 inch tubing, which is the same width as the block and the spring. But as you see, I've got a pin coming out of the bottom of it, but I've got the location hole for the spring all the way in the back. So essentially what we're going to do, boom, we're going to make a new lifting block that's going to sit on the rear end where it sits on the rear end, but the spring eye is going to be back here, or the spring center bolt's going to be back here in this location, so I can take this lifting block and essentially go boom, like that under the spring, and it'll line back up with the rear end and relocate the rear end where it goes, and then we'll just U-bolt down through it. I'll have to make a custom top plate to relocate the U-bolts, because the U-bolts will probably almost want to sit on that, so I got to do something there. But this will move the rear end essentially, or well, the rear end will stay where it needs to be, but it'll locate the spring on the back, and I've used a bolt to make my pin, so that's plug welded to the top so the thing can't crush. It's a little light duty, but for this truck's a 1/2 ton and it's just a yard truck, it's going to be fine. These should be like quarter wall if you're going to make actual lifting blocks, but that's all I got to work with. So this guy will go bam like that, and it'll pin on and hold the rear end where it's got to be. And I've got new U-bolts. We'll stack it all together. It's about 1 inch shorter than what was on there originally, but the truck did have a really wicked rake, and these springs are a lot stiffer, so it probably won't sag as much. And it is what it is. I actually picked it up a little bit by welding that plate to the axle, and it's going to be probably the same stance as it was before. And actually, when you put the plow in the front of the truck, it's going to squat the front of the truck, so it'll level out. But this is my solution to pollution is dilution. I guess that's a rhyme, but it's if this is a street truck, I wouldn't do this. I would either get the right springs. I'd probably just get the right springs. I don't know what the deal is of these, the center bolts being 2 inches back, but essentially I measured the springs. I held the original leaves up to them, and you can see, actually I'll show you. Driver's side spring, I'll bring it over here. It's the same thing, but it actually came apart, so it's a little bit lighter for me. So if I hold the bolt up in the front of the spring, bam, to that, and then hold the back up here, you can see just how much, oops, that's off. It's going to be good enough for what we're doing. It's going to line up. If anything, my blocks, because the hole is longer here, it's 2 inches. So if anything, it's going to move the rear end ahead, which there's plenty of slip yoke showing on the drive shaft. It might move the rear end ahead, maybe like a 1/4 inch or whatever from where it was originally, which in the wheel well, it's not going to matter at all. So this is my answer. And when the springs flatten out, you know, you put weight on it, the spring goes backwards anyways. So right now it's kind of relaxed. Of course, the other spring is relaxed, but it is what it is. We're just going to make it work. And this is a custom solution to a detrimental problem that we had, but I think it's going to work out fine. And like I said, if this was a street truck, I probably wouldn't do it this way. I would get the right springs or move the hangers or do something, but just because it's a plow truck, it's going to be fine. And you know, this would need new axle pads. You wouldn't just weld on top of rust and stuff. But I'm very quickly running out of patience to deal with one catastrophe after another. So yeah, that's what it's going to be. We're going to figure it out right now. So I'm just going to weld this plate to the other axle pad, and then real fast I'll paint it up. I'll put some paint on here and some grease, because we're going to put some grease action between everything. But I'll burn that on, and then I'll bring you guys back when we start to jack the rear end up with the spring plates and the U-bolts, and let's see if all this mess goes together. Your guess is as good as mine. All right, here we go. I've got I've got the plates both welded on. I've taken my lifting blocks and I've greased them here with blue grease. So I'm going to plop this guy in here. Boom. Whoa, whoa. And I got the rear end on the jack. Why is that not sitting down like it's supposed to? Oh, what's going on here? Dang it. What's going on there? Are we hitting the thing now? Dang, the hole is another pus bucket. Get in there, and of course it's all covered in grease. Maybe it'll mush down. The pin is super tight. And the lower pinhole, I had drilled it out, tried to ream it out with the drill bit so it would have room to maneuver. And it looks like we're held up just a little bit. It can't be touching, can it? I'm going to fall off the jack here in a second. There should wrap it on there with a hammer. Where's the hammer at? I'm getting losing my patience here with this whole operation. And now it's dark out. And trying to do stuff in the light so you guys can see what I'm doing, and it's nothing but a freaking fiasco. This guy, just get in there. There goes the paint. Okay, it's down. It's down on the pad now. So, get rid of that. We gotta take our jack and go that way a little bit. Hoop. Actually, we're pretty close. So this guy just needs to go right about there. Okay. I'm gonna, hoop. If I had some way to, hoop. Nope. Dang. Hold this guy for a second. There we go. That's going to be there. Let's see. I got new U-bolts. The spring store made me new U-bolts. You go and you buy them, and they bend them up. They have to stock, and then they bend them to what you need. And now there needs to be a top plate on here, which I don't have on right now. But I'm going to have to wrangle this guy. Let's just see if this is actually going to fit. Oh, yeah. There needs to be a top plate under here, but I just want these on here to wrangle this so it can't get away. Because I can't get the jack stand back under the... Maybe I can if I go this way. No. Oh, there we go. Anyways, I just want to put the U-bolts on just to kind of hold it so it can't walk all over the place, because I can't just jack it up and up and up. I got to get the other block in place. But this looks like it's going to work now. Now you'll see in a second when I stick the second U-bolt on here that the bolt sticking through the spring is going to be an issue, I think. But we'll play with that once we get there. So that guy goes there. Oh, looks like it'll just clear it. Boom. So there's a... is it going to be right into it? Yeah, probably. Where's one of my... put the spring. This guy goes on this side. He's going to go there and go there. And of course the jack stands in the way. Dang it. Oh, okay. Boom. Is it going to go up there? Yeah, okay, that'll work. Let's see. Oh, shoot. This U-bolt does want to be right where this bolt is. It wants to be right there, but I guess I can cheat it a little bit inwards. Which way? I'm going to have to make some kind of top plate. Usually, actually, here's one. They got this plate so the U-bolts don't push on the springs. They go on a steel plate, and these are severely rusted and junk. But they would go here and span the bolt on the spring, and your U-bolts sit on here. So I'm going to have to make something to go, probably get a piece of like 1-inch tubing that I can core the hole for the bolt, have that go through, then just have these sit on top. I got plenty of threads on my U-bolts, so I'll just kind of like sandwich everything together. It's going to be the best way to do it. But it looks like this is going to work out here to the best of my knowledge. Boy, what a fiasco. If I'd only, I would have never thought in a million years that the springs I got at the junkyard were any different, because, like I said, all the Dodge springs from like 72 to 93 are the same as far as I know. So I have no idea what happened and what's going on here, but it is what it is. The other block in the other side and go from there. What a magical journey we've been on. Okay, can I get this guy down enough to get in there? All right, he went right on the block. Oops, the rear end's got to come this way just a little bit. And another thing I've noticed is the springs are spread just a little bit. I'm just making it a chore. Oop. But that's why I got this ratchet strap on here. The the frame is the same and everything. Or actually, you know what? We did shim the springs out just a touch and a couple other things, but this should sandwich together. I can't see anything. Just should sandwich all together and realign the. I measured the eyes of the springs and the eyes of the axles, and it's only off like a 1/4 inch, so it will clamp together, no problem. Just got to get it there. I'm close. I'm close right now. What do we got? Where's my hole? Right there would kind of go. If I could get a little action. Oop. Oop. I can't. It's fighting me. Can't see where the hole's at because the grease. Don't put your finger in there because it'll pinch it. Oops, let's see here. Okay. Go up a little bit more. Oops, oops. Don't get out of whack. Go up a little bit more. Ooh, ooh. It wants to pinch everything. It's going. It's just because of the axles being spread, or because of the springs being spread, it'll go. Just got to put the U-bolts around it. Cobbling at its finest right here. It'll go. There we go. The U-bolt. There we go. U-bolt sucked it back in where it's got to go. Boom. All right. I'm just going to put some weight on it. Ooh, these springs are stiff. This thing is gonna. It's very tight. Am I in there? Let's see. This guy's gotta go. This is very fun. I don't know if fun is the word for it. It's something. Okay, here's what I did to get the U-bolts there. I took a piece of 2-inch flat stock and I drilled a hole for the pin to come through, or the spring bolt, and then I welded 2 little pieces of, I don't know, 1/4 inch rod so the U-bolts can't come off, and it's made out of 2-inch flat stock, so it's sitting right on top of the spring, one on each side. Now I've got the impact gun out. I'm going to slowly run the U-bolts up on here. I think I need some light on the situation because I can't see nothing. And I've greased everything up really good. The U-bolts are pretty long. Oh shoot, I can't get the stupid gun on here. Dang it. I'm gonna have to end up cutting the U-bolts off because they are quite long, but they are good enough for, I didn't want them too short in case I needed to make more blocks or anything like that, and I wasn't sure, so the threads go up the U-bolts like 4 inches, so it's good for everything I had to do. But now we're good. I'm just going to suck these bottom plates up. They just kind of pivot on the bottom of the axle, and I grease those like I showed you earlier. So they have grease between the rear end and the axle pads, or the spring pad, or whatever it's called. So that should, can I get this on here now that's ran up there? Maybe. Shoot, not quite. I'll have to do them by hand with a ratchet. Anyways, they just kind of float on the bottom of the axle, the square of the U-bolts on top, which kind of locates everything, and then the pins. But we're all pinned together here with 5/8 pins from the homemade blocks, and the bolts and the springs are all good in the hood. Everything's together. And actually, these studs are so, or these U-bolts are so long, I can barely. They're very long. I'm gonna have to tighten them over there. I think I have a ratcheting wrench on. I can't get a ratcheting wrench on that one. I might have to end up cutting them off or using an open end to tighten them down because they're so long. Take the grinder and lop these bolts off because I can't get any tools on here to tighten them up about here. was exciting. It's coming out good. I'm going to tighten them up by hand. I don't want to get too carried away. Did that suck that block down? Oh yeah, we're engaged there. Engaged there. Everything's good. That's, I think we got a good repair here. And it's going to be good enough for what it is. Okay, it pulled this U-bolt ahead till it hit the bolt. That's okay. But this guy is where it is. The U-bolts are all bolted down tight. They're a little crooked, but that's okay. But while we're out here restoring stuff, why not put some Monroe Restore shocks on this thing? These are, I bought them because they're the best. Nope, I bought them because they're cheap on Rock Auto. And apparently they don't come with any hardware. That's okay, I have the technology for hardware. And yeah, they're just simple tube-o-matic shock. The upper body shock of the shock is plastic. Huh. Ain't that a thing? Whoa, here they go, they're growing. Yikes. So I had to get some new bolts. Whoa, because the old bolts were severely nasty, but don't worry, I have put lots of anti-seize on everything. So that guy is just gonna go there. Oh, how do I, I'm gonna have to, will it reach? Oh no. I'm gonna have to put the bottom on first because it slips over that. But a faux packs already. There we go. Bottom goes on. Actually, hold on a minute. Need some kind of washer, which I have. Some kind of original nonsense here. That one's all bent right over. It's fine. We're not building a show truck. We're building a truck. There we go. Reuse the nasty hardware. Perfect. All right, that guy goes there. That guy goes there. We're gonna have to jack the rear end of the truck up just a little bit. Where are you guys at? Am I in your way? Yup. Let's see. Can I jack it? Is it gonna come off the jack stands? A little bit, but is it enough to get me where I gotta go? Almost. Man, this thing is stiff. Dang. Can I get the bolt in? Oh boy. That this appears to be some kind of issue. This we're at max droop right now with our action. You know what? Oh, I didn't realize I had a Monroe sticker. I didn't put the Monroe sticker out. I put it on wrong. I'll have to spin the body around so we can see. Do I have hardware here? Yes, I do. Yep. That guy goes there. This guy goes here. Boom. Uh-oh. Get on there. Well, I want to go on there. It's meant to go on there, but it doesn't want to go on there. What the flip is the problem here? Get on there. You know you want to. How did the washer that's meant to go on there not? There we go. We just got bead on the shock body. It's good for it. Don't worry about that. It's fine. Is this one going to be tall enough to reach? Maybe. Oh yeah. No, so why is this one tall enough to reach but not that one? Because the truck's sitting crooked probably. How come you don't want to get in there? Get in there. Okay. Everything is everywhere. Just bash it, it's fine. Boom. Nice. I got some nice nylock nuts to put on here. Notice I got my restore sticker facing out. We're going to pull this other guy out and turn him right around so we can see the restore. Yeah. How is it like a 1/4 inch knot? Got to be kidding me. Of course, I put anti-seize on everything. I have the answer. Let's use a ratchet strap and suck the suspension down. I don't know why one side is a 1/4 inch higher than the other, but it is what it is. Well, welcome to the world of used everything. Just need a little bit of... Is it working? Kind of. But man, that seems awful tight for a Harbor Freight ratchet strap. But it was enough to get us to where we gotta be. Perfect. Boom. There we go. Where'd my other nut go? Yes. Whoa, that's plenty. When she crushes the cross member, you know she's good. Bam, look at that. Nice. Now, can I take the ratchet strap off without killing myself? Maybe. Ooh, not too bad. Just got a little bit of droop. Now we'll let the shock do the work. Look at that. Bam. As you can see, the U-bolts are at a little bit of an angle, but it is what it is. It looks like I could have spaced the front one out just a little bit more on my plate, but I didn't. There, and it is what it is. Like I said, this is just a yard truck, and it's going to be fine. But we got essentially 1-ton springs in the back of our 1/2-ton truck, so I guess capacity is not going to be the issue. So that's good. We got our new shocks on. We got our frame all fixed. The next thing I got to do is I got to fix the cab mounts because they're both broke. That one was broke right apart on the other side. I got the cab sitting on wood. I have some extra ones off this old C10 frame that I think will work, or I'll make them work, I should say. They're not junk and they should fit a biscuit just like that. So while this is still got the box off it, I'm going to go ahead and do that, throw them on there, and then when we do the floor, we're going to put some new cab mounts in the front of the floor reaction. But essentially the frame is all brand new in the back of the truck. I think one more thing I'm going to do before the end of the video is I have a receiver hitch to put on here, laying over there. I'll clamp that up here and bolt that on. Look at that. Yeah, they're both leaning back. It is what it is. You know, like I said, we just cobbled this together. Close enough for government work. It ain't going to come out of there. Ain't going nowhere. This out, here's the receiver. And I don't know what it came off of, but it's perfectly the right width to, bam, bolt up under my frame rails just like that. And it's the right distance for having a bumper and stuff on the back. So I'm just going to clamp this on here, drill some holes, bolt it right up on, and fog out some black paint. We'll be good to go here. That's heavy. Boom. Yeah, but that's it. This was a struggle today, and unforeseen circumstances almost got in the way, but we were able to pull it out with the help of you guys, with telling me, yelling at the screen, able to figure out what we had to do. And I'm just looking see how it looks. Oh, yeah, it's all lined up. Everything's good. So this is awesome. I can't wait to get this thing back on the wheels, get some brakes on it so I can actually drive it, not crash it. And I'm going to use fluid film black eventually here. Fluid film the entire chassis of this thing black under here after I do all the rust repair, and the underside of the truck. That way it'll last hopefully a little bit longer. I got full floor pans to put in it. I got to do rockers, cab corners, not cab corners, inner rockers, and then cab mounts as part of the floor package. Seal the floors right up in it, make those good. Get some kind of seats. I think I have some tan bucket seats that I don't care about that I guess I can put in here. And then, like I said, some tuning under the hood, put the plow on it, and the thing will be ready for plow duty probably before the end of winter. So, thanks for watching. It was a struggle today, and we're still out in the driveway in the freezing cold weather. But today wasn't too bad. So, thanks for watching. rusty junk Dodges. I'm also working on the C10. We got new wind there. I've blown off the paint till spring. We're gonna do all mechanicals. I spent a whole day working on brakes, which was a nightmare. Another, like I said in the beginning, nothing but nightmare after nightmare this weekend, but got to make it happen. So we'll be on the C10 as well as this guy, dueling projects, one in the shop, one in the driveway. But I appreciate everybody watching. We'll see you next time, making the old black Dodge even better, fixing her up one piece at a time, hopefully for the last time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time at the Quick Speed Shop.